Hello, welcome to my reselling channel, Flippin Hippos. I'm Star. It's Wednesday, and I like to talk about organization, routine, scheduling, things of that type on a Wednesday. And today I've got a lot to tell you and a lot to talk about. First, I would like to address a comment that was left on last Wednesday's post from my friends that have already heard me talk about this. Yes, I'm still talking about it. So they basically said in their comment that they came in, heard me say I talk about organization, saw the mess I work in, and bounced. So that tells me several things. You're probably not a reseller because you don't understand that we actually work and have inventory. But secondly, you are not familiar with this channel or with me. Let me turn this light on. Because organization doesn't just mean that I'm never going to have inventory behind me. I mean, having a nice, perfectly organized office would be ideal, but that's not going to happen. All resellers know that their workspace, you bring up boxes of stuff to work on. You have bins in there because you're going through stuff. You may have just purchased a bunch of stuff and have it in there. It's always in flux. I mean, the only time this office has ever been pristine is the 3 times we've had people come in from out of town to visit us, and they stayed in this room, and I worked really hard leading up to that to move everything back into the garage. I say all this to say, if you have a mess in your work area, I think that is a telltale sign that you're actively reselling, you're productive, you're getting work done. If I, honestly, if I saw a reseller who didn't have clothes back here or something going on with inventory, I don't think you're really reselling. I think you're shopping and thrifting and making videos about it, because if I don't see works in progress, I don't think you're working. And I'm one of the most organized people you'll ever meet in your life, but that doesn't always mean my office is going to look like it belongs in Home and Gardens. Organization can also be how you process through that inventory, how you work through it, how you batch work. Organized can mean how you balance all the aspects of your life with your job into a nice routine and a schedule. Organization can mean so much more than having a pristine office, which would make me sus anyway. Like I said, if you have a pristine work area, I don't believe you that you're a reseller. So all of that said, yes, it's Wednesday, and I like to talk about organization, and sometimes my office is a little messy. And if you think that means I'm not organized or you need to leave the channel, that's your loss. That is your loss, and bless your heart, because I have a lot of good information here. And today I'm going to prove that organization means so much more than just not having a couple boxes behind me when I film a video. It means having all of my shit together in my entire life in such a way that I am one of the most organized people, that even in the midst of losing my electric and my internet, my electric was out for 3 days, my internet was out for 5. In the midst of all of that, I still was productive. I still got a bunch of work done. And by day 2 of the internet being back, I was already caught up on all my work. You guys know I pre-record my videos, so I'm actually recording this video on March 19th, and you will see it on March 25th. The video that got the comments came out on March 18th and had been filmed the week before on the 12th. So I film on Thursdays, and then you see the videos in the coming next 5 days or so. On Friday the 13th, our power went out, and it did not come back up until late Sunday, and we did not get internet back until Tuesday afternoon, and then it also went out again Wednesday morning for a little bit brief period of time. And so I really want to talk with you about how I stayed productive, how I stayed ahead of things, and how within a day and a half, basically by Wednesday afternoon, I was fully 100% caught up, and it was like it never happened. And the irony is, I really wanted to impress upon you the importance of scheduling your listings on eBay and the importance of having banks. And that was a video that just came out last Tuesday. And I said, well, that was ironic. I literally just did a video that's titled Bank Your Listings Because Life Happens. And then boom, life really, really happened for us. So I'm going to have that video pop up at the end. If you didn't see it, it's worth the watch. I talked all about the reasons why and how to schedule your listings on eBay and why you should have a big bank to work from. A lot of people question me on that. And in that video, I explained it in depth and how it's really not any different than working from a pile. But that's what saved us. Now, only eBay has scheduled listings for us. So I'm scheduled out on eBay. eBay didn't miss a beat. I still sold what I normally sell. I still shipped what I normally shipped. Poshmark, Etsy kind of took a little bit of a hit because they didn't get daily listings and Poshmark wasn't being shared. I usually have List Perfectly on my second laptop over here, sharing Poshmark for me all day and sending offers. But once the power was back on and I could get on my hotspot from my banked listings, I very quickly listed on every platform I'm on, like 15 listings just to get some activity in there. And then I was able to make sure eBay was scheduled out again to that 21st day. And when the power was back on, but we still had no internet, I spent that Monday taking lots of photos. I did organize in this office a little bit. That's another irony. I'm like, man, there's a lot of boxes and stuff in here. I wonder if I could work through these and consolidate and put some stuff back in the garage. And I did all that Monday and took a bunch of photos and got even more stuff out of here because once it's photographed, it goes to the garage. And then 2 days later, boom, I see your mess. Well, I saw my mess too. And when I had time during a power outage and no internet, I cleaned it. That doesn't always happen, that I have an entire day to spend photographing that way, but I did. So the point of this video is to talk to you about how to stay productive. If you lose your power, if you lose your internet, what you can do. So the first thing is if you don't have power or internet or anything, and you decide you're staying at your house, there are things you can do during the daytime with the curtains open. You can take extra photos. You can work on your bank unless you need the internet for that. I build mine on LP, so I can't. But if you build your own listings on your phone or whatever, you can do that. You can organize. You can do an organization on your shipping station, your inventory. You can organize your garage, clean out your office, take lots and lots of pictures of tons of inventory. You can get on your phone and do some sourcing. You go to a couple of whatnot shows, go to some online auctions. So there's plenty to do, even if you don't have power during the daytime hours. You can just open all the curtains in your house and have light, and you can do a lot of photos, cleaning, things on your phone. If you have power but no internet, and you have a hotspot from your phone that you can use, don't use it until you check your agreement with your phone company. We have a lot of room on our hotspot. I think he told me 50. I don't know what he said, but he told me unless I was using my hotspot for 8 hours a day for 3 weeks, we would be fine. But some people's hotspots will start charging you when you use them. So just double check your agreement with your phone company. But if you have the ability to use your hotspot, you can start listing again and you can start kind of getting back into your routine. I only went on my hotspot for 2 to 3 hours a day because I didn't want to overuse it, even though we have a lot of room. And then you could always go to a library, a Starbucks, a coffee shop, get on their Wi-Fi, get yourself a treat, and do some work there. I didn't take not having power and not having the internet as an excuse to not work. I kept working. I just had to pivot and figure out what I was doing that day. Now, I normally don't work weekends, so the first 3 days without internet and power were my days off. So, that's fine. Friday evening and the weekend, I was off. But as soon as Monday rolled around, we had the power back, no internet. I did have to clean out the refrigerator because we had food spoilage. I had to call the insurance company for that. I did some cleaning around the house, and then I worked in my office all day and did stuff I guess you just don't ever get around to, but it's there, like cleaning up my mess so Karens won't leave me any more messages. Oh, there's still a mess, but I've covered it up now, so I look like a professional without a mess in my office. So those are just some ideas you can do. If you're going to stay in your house without power and you can open up curtains and get light in there, you can take photos. If it's not bright enough for that, you can always organize and clean. I mean, you don't really need a lot of light for that. And there are a lot of things that we as resellers don't always have time to get around to. We wear a lot of hats. We do a lot during the day, and we have a lot of jobs to do. So no, you probably don't think about organizing your office or your shipping station, except maybe once a year, right? We all like to get organized during the summer slowdown to get ready for Q4. So just take advantage of it. Like I said, I didn't take this as an excuse to not work. I took my weekend. I read extra. We went and stayed at his grandparents for a while because it was cold here. And when it was time to work, I worked. But I can tell you right now, having that kind of a mindset where I can pivot, I'm going to do my routines no matter what, is what really helped me get through this without really seeing too much. I didn't see any difference on either. I saw a tiny one on other platforms, but because I pivoted and came right back, it was okay. Don't be afraid to use your hotspot. Unless it's going to cost you too much, then don't be afraid to use libraries, coffee shops. Don't use things as an excuse to just get out of work, is my point. If you can still work, you should still work. And you may have to work differently, and you may have to change what you're doing and pivot and find something else to do. But I think if you're on a good schedule, if you're on a good routine and you say, I work Monday through Friday from 7:30 to 5, you need to work from 7:30 to 5, whatever that looks like. It may not always be ideal. You can take that as an excuse to not work for the day. I mean, you could take an extra day off. Just be prepared to work harder when you come back. But I don't like to take that for an excuse, because when I take extra time off, I want it planned out ahead of time. Oh, let's take Memorial Day off. Let's take 10 days off for Christmas. I like to plan. So I don't use the life happens things as an excuse most times unless it can't be helped. I mean, clearly, if there are certain things that happen in life very clearly that you're not going to get any work done that day. If you're sitting at the vet office, the ER, there are things you have to deal with in life where you are not going to be able to work that day, which is why when life happens, but you're still able to pivot and do something, I think you should. You should have that mindset and take advantage of any downtime, no power, no electricity, summer slowdown, all of those to get organized. I always say that on this channel. So sometimes you may see behind me boxes and bins just full of items. That's because I walk the walk and I talk the talk. I've actually got real inventory in my office that I'm currently working on. But my inventory system, my shipping station, the rest of my house is very organized. I just don't, what are you going to do? Organize stuff as you're working through it? You're just going to keep moving it around and you're never going to get it done. Throw the pile on the chair, throw the pile on the bed, throw the pile wherever you throw it, and pull things out of it one at a time to photograph, and then neatly put away in your inventory system. You can have chaos while you're working. If you're always trying to be organized, I don't think you'd get anything done, because, you'd be like, oh, there's this pile of swimsuits I'm working on. I got to fold them all nice and neat. No, just throw the pile down and work on them. Stop wasting time on stuff. But that's just what I wanted to talk about this week. Just really having that mindset. I want you guys to challenge yourself to have that mindset of no matter what happens, unless it's completely out of my control. Some of the examples I gave earlier. Clearly, if someone in your family is sick and you're at the hospital all day, maybe you'll get some stuff done from your phone. Some people would, even in that situation, work on their phone, But I just want you to challenge yourself to have that mindset of, I can always be productive. I can always find something to do. And I don't need to use excuses to get out of work, because the only way you're ever going to be successful is to consistently work and consistently stick to your routines and schedules as much as possible. And the other big takeaway I really want you to have is banks, bank listings. Take extra photos, schedule your listings on eBay. Again, it's so ironic that I just did a video about that. Like, this is so important to do because you never know when life's going to happen. And then it proved my point for me. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns about anything you saw in this video or reselling in general, let me know. And hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Go talk about my mess in my comments. But please do push those buttons to help me feed my hungry hippos. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.